Chapter 91. Let's start with the stick. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing that everyone agreed with his plan, Zhu Zhao nodded with satisfaction. Since everyone has no objection to Qianpeng's plan, the auction will begin next. After a pause, he continued. First of all, let me make it clear that the operating rights of the fortress are only for 1 year. The ownership and defense issues still belong to Tianpeng. Do you have any questions? Seeing that everyone did not object, Zhu Zhao continued. Then the auction officially begins. The first 10th level high-level soldier template, you can bid. Our Zhang family offers 5 billion. MaleProtagonist family offers 6 billion. Soon all the soldier templates were auctioned off, and the next step was the operating rights of the fortress for 1 year. It's just that the price of the 1-year operating rights of the fortress exceeded Zhu Zhao's expectations. It's not that the price is too high, but it's a bit low, but on second thought, after all, it's only 1 year of operating rights, which is understandable, and it's okay if it's lower. As long as your plan can go smoothly, this is a small amount of money. After the auction, just as everyone was continuing to perfect the whole plan, the 3 holy mothers suddenly stood up, came behind Lei Zhenzi, and whispered something. Lei Zhenzi's face changed slightly after listening, and he was silent for a moment before speaking. Please pause the meeting. I just got the news that the Eagle Sauce country intends to form an alliance with our country in the 10,000 nations competition to create brilliance together. As soon as this was said, everyone stopped talking. Everyone looked at Zhu Zhao, waiting to hear his opinion. After all, it was just decided to implement the plan of the Tianpeng boss, and the benefits have been taken. Eagle Sauce country is coming to form an alliance. To be honest, Zhu Zhao was still very surprised. Eagle Sauce country and Xia country have been competing with each other for many years. Are they going to form an alliance at this time? And in the previous life, Eagle Sauce country should have formed an alliance with Japan. The Japanese are not good people. It is common for them to betray their credibility. After forming an alliance for more than 20 days and conquering many countries, Meichuan Naiku led the Japanese players to turn against the Eagle Sauce country directly and killed it. Arthur was almost pissed to death at that time. After that, all the players of the Eagle Sauce country were mobilized to curse in the World Channel for many days, and even the real world almost gave Japan 2 more acquaintances everywhere. I just don't know what agreement was reached later, and the matter was finally left unresolved. Although, as long as there is a community of interests between countries, enemies can become friends and form a temporary alliance. However, Zhu Zhao has already made a plan, and taking down the Eagle Sauce country is also one of them. It is obviously unacceptable to form an alliance at this time and then stab in the back later. How can China, a great country and a country of etiquette, do such a thing of betraying faith? It has always been virtue to win people over. Lei Zhenzi saw that Zhu Zhao didn't speak, and asked hurriedly. Brother, what do you think? Do you want to contact Tianpeng boss first to see what he means? Zhu Zhao's mouth curled slightly. No need to contact. Before coming here, Tianpeng boss said that he would not form an alliance with any country. You can just refuse directly. Lei Zhenzi heard this and spoke hesitantly. Brother, more allies should be a good thing, right? Although the Eagle Sauce country is a little shameless, its strength is there. Before Lei Zhenzi finished speaking, he was interrupted by Zhu Zhao. Good thing. How do you know? You probably already know the plan. Our success rate is still very high. Do you want more people to share the spoils? Also, judging from the current situation, does Xia country need allies? As soon as Lei Zhenzi said this, his words were choked in his throat before he could say it. He is the representative of the Xia country's military. He always looks at things habitually from the perspective of Xia country's interests and stability. In their view, if they form an alliance with the Eagle Sauce country, they can share the risk of failure and increase their own strength. They can consider it, but Zhu Zhao thinks that Xia country does not need allies, and the benefits they have just received are enough to be worth a try. Lei Zhenzi did not say anything more, but gestured to the 3 holy mothers. The latter understood, walked aside and began to reply to the Eagle Sauce country. At the same time, in Arthur's territory in Eagle Sauce country, Arthur and other Eagle Sauce country lords were sitting in the conference hall, talking about their ideas. Tianpeng is in Xia country, and everyone has seen his strength. As long as Xia country agrees to form an alliance, we will definitely get a big piece of the pie in this event. Remember, now is the early stage of the Universal Lords, and we should only look at the benefits. When we are strong enough, Xia country will be nothing more than that. Here I wish us the best results in the hegemony of all nations, and we will raise our glasses together and eat bait noodles. A group of Eagle Sauce country lords also raised their glasses together to celebrate, but at this time, the Eagle Sauce country lord who was responsible for contacting Xia country suddenly exclaimed, "Fuck, General Arthur, Xia country has rejected our request for an alliance." When these words came out, everyone who was raising their glasses to celebrate was stunned. They never thought that Xia country would reject their request for an alliance, especially Arthur. Just now, they were still talking about how much benefits Eagle Sauce country could get after forming an alliance with Xia country. As a result, it was less than a minute, and the slap in the face came so quickly. Arthur grabbed the collar of the lord who contacted Xia country, his face full of disbelief. "What did you say?" "Say it again." That the contact person wanted to cry but had no tears. "It's not me who refused. If you are angry, go to the Xia army." "But I dare not delay and repeat it again. Xia rejected our alliance request." Arthur angrily pushed the liaison away. "Fuck, Xia is too arrogant. How dare they reject the alliance of my Eagle Sauce country?" That the other Eagle Sauce lords looked at each other, a little at a loss. The originally planned plan was disrupted in an instant. "General Arthur, what should we do now? Or should we follow the original plan and form an alliance with Japan or Korea?" Arthur did not speak, and his expression was uncertain. "Perhaps, I should not have contacted Xia in the first place." At this time, in Lei Zhanzi's territory, everyone had already assigned the tasks of the early plan of the 10,000 nations hegemony. To put it simply, after the event starts, first occupy the fortresses that enter the neighboring countries. After occupying the multinational fortresses, you can teleport to other countries and capture special buildings. At this time, you will definitely be blocked by other countries. The tasks assigned to each of them were how to eliminate these forces. Zhu Zhao's plan was to take over the entire East Continent within 5 days. After that, he would use the East Continent as a springboard to expand outward. What everyone discussed and perfected was how to quickly take over the East Continent. Zhu Zhao did not elaborate on the plan after taking over the East Continent. He just gave a rough idea. Although everyone did not know the specific plan, they were shocked by the general idea. Tianping, the ambition is really too big. However, if the whole plan can be realized, then, everyone looked at each other, and the heat in their eyes was hard to hide. The 10,000 nations hegemony event has not started yet, and the benefits given by Tianping boss are enough for everyone to eat. But they don't mind eating more. Zhu Zhao gave the final suggestion. "Tianping boss suggests that we start with the Korean country first." After that, he got up and left. Everyone, what a big hatred, what a big hatred. This is to suppress the Korean country directly. Chapter 92, Meeting the Three Brothers Lu, Guan, and Zhang again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Zhu Zhao returned to the territory, he began to prepare for another wave of troops. He gave Kath 15 billion gold coins and trained a 1.5 million level 10 guardian elf. After the event is over, they will be dispersed to garrison in various fortresses, but they still have to be guarded against those who buy the management rights. Zhu Zhao planned to use all the remaining gold coins to attack Lilith's 12th level exclusive unit, the Vampire Prince, as the top unit among high-level units. There is no need to worry about being eliminated in the middle and late stages. In this auction, a total of 300 billion basic resources were harvested, another 280 billion was given to Lilith and 7 million vampire princes were directly trained. Currently, level 12 vampire princes are the main battle unit with the largest number, with as many as 10 million. Just when Zhu Zhao returned to his territory and exploded his troops, Lei Zhanzi was also mobilizing troops and generals, using the internal chat channel of Xia Kingdom. All the lords started to move. It's not just about occupying transnational fortresses and teleporting to other countries. Cross-border fortresses must also retain enough defensive power, because this event of the battle for hegemony among nations is a virtual battlefield. You won't feel bad if your troops die. Therefore, the lord players from various countries are very enthusiastic and basically all participate. As a country with a large population, Xia State is Even more crowded, most of the Lord players are willing to accept the call. Those who are capable can participate in offensive tasks, and those who are not capable can also participate in defensive tasks. They all contribute. Throughout the Xia Kingdom, large-scale marching armies can be seen everywhere, which is very lively. Zhu Zhao plans to bring all the troops and heroes to this World Hegemony event. As for the troops attacking other countries, he only brought Lilith's vampire princes and those top-level troops. As for the rest, of course they stayed in Xia Kingdom. Special buildings will also be refreshed in the Xia Kingdom. Naturally, some heroes and troops will be left to capture the special buildings in the Xia Kingdom, and we have to guard against attacks from other countries. After roughly allocating these tasks, Zhu Zhao quickly began to mobilize his troops and go to the location agreed upon in advance. As for why we should fight against Bangzi country first, of course it was because of the previous second round of world boss activities. Bangzi Kingdom hates Zhu Zhao so much. Now the Lord of Bangzi country is still making noise on the world channel to invade Xia country and take revenge. Instead of waiting for the Lord of Bangzi Kingdom to invade Xia Kingdom, it is better to strike first. With just the strength of Bangzi country, how can they be allowed to jump? Soon we set off towards the reserved location. Most of the transnational fortresses leading to Bangzi country will be refreshed there. There is not just one transnational fortress leading to each country, there may be dozens, hundreds, or even thousands. It is also determined based on the size of the country's region. At the same time, the entire national lords began the largest march since the server was launched. Hundreds of billions or even trillions of troops, under the leadership of their respective lords, began to march quickly in order to reach the designated location in time. At this time, in the Bangzi Kingdom of the Eastern Continent, Pu Buqing was also marching with his own army. At the same time, he gave orders in the chat channel in the Bangzi country area. The last world boss incident did not have much impact on him, and this time he was also elected as the commander-in-chief. Everyone, listen up. The last world boss incident was a shame for our entire Bangzi country. This time the battle for hegemony among nations is the time for our Bangzi country to avenge its shame. All the lords of Bangzi country must rush to the designated location. Follow me into the Xia Kingdom area and capture their special buildings. Kill all the Xia Kingdom lords. As soon as these words came out, the emotions of most of the lords of Bangzi country were instantly aroused. Invading the Xia Kingdom will avenge previous humiliation. We must let the lords of the Xia Kingdom know that our Bangzi Kingdom is not something they can bully. Ba Shu 69 knew. The last world boss event was just a sudden attack by Canopy. We were not prepared. This time we are ready and we will definitely invade Xia Kingdom. The country of Bangzi will win. As for the Western Continent, Yingjiang country, Arthur also marched towards the position determined in advance. How are the other lords of our Yingjiang Kingdom doing now? Where have they arrived? A lord of Yingjiang country below replied hurriedly. The tasks have been assigned according to the prepared plan, and they are all converging towards the reserved position. Hearing this, Arthur looked fierce. Okay, just follow the plan and defeat all of the Western Continent first, and then plan the Xia Kingdom. We must let them know what a wrong decision it is to refuse to alliance with us. Soon all the forces arrived at their designated positions, and the countdown to the battle for hegemony among nations began. Zhu Zhao also arrived at the scheduled location at this time. When he arrived here, he realized that too many soldiers had gathered here. After a cursory glance, there were at least billions and a steady stream of lords and troops rushing towards here. Looking around, the mountains and plains are filled with soldiers. However, there are still many low-level troops. This is the strength of most ordinary lord players. Don't think that the rewards from the World Boss event include random mid-level military template treasure chests, and that means that mid-level military units are worthless. That is only relative to those big forces that have the strength to take down the World Boss. As for ordinary lord players, they are mainly low-level soldiers. Having a 4th-level soldier is considered powerful. So when Zhu Zhao released the army from the space tower, it instantly attracted everyone's attention. They are all high-level soldiers, so damn eye-catching. At this moment, Zhu Zhao rode Louise into the field. All the lord players present looked at the troops led by Zhu Zhao behind them, their eyes full of envy. At the same time, they also made way for the space in front of the multinational fortress. Zhu Zhao was very satisfied with this treatment. Without hesitation, he led the soldiers to the front of the multinational fortress. There is a huge city here, and the city wall alone is tens of thousands of meters long, but it is covered by an invincible protective shield. The time has not come yet, and the fortress is currently invincible and cannot be attacked. This protective shield will only disappear when the countdown for the hegemony of all nations ends. Zhu Zhao stationed the army here, just waiting for the countdown to end. The Lord players around were drooling at the sight of Zhu Zhao's army. Many Lord players wanted to come forward and talk, but they were afraid of being rejected, so they could only stop and watch. At this time, 3 people came forward quickly, and when they saw Zhu Zhao, they bowed their heads. Meeting, Big Brother. Zhu Zhao saw that it was the 3 brothers Lu, Guan, and Zhang, and he was immediately happy. So it's you 3 brothers. What a fate. And I'm not the leader, don't call me that. At this time, the eldest brother Liu Bei spoke. You are the leader of our 3 brothers. We 3 brothers heard that you were going to fight the Bangzi kingdom first, so we must support you, so we led the troops here early to wait. Yes, Big Brother is right. Yes, me too. Zhu Zhao looked at the troops brought by the 3 people, and there were quite a lot of them. Especially the 7th level troop template given to them last time. I didn't expect to recruit hundreds of thousands in such a short time. It seems that the 3 brothers did lie at the beginning. It's not like they really spent all their money to invest in the game. Zhu Zhao looked at the 3 brothers with a half smile. Oh, your strength has improved quickly. You actually recruited so many rank 7 soldiers. It seems that you really spent all your money this time. That the 3 brothers smiled embarrassedly. Big Brother, I really spent all my money this time just to help you a little bit. When the 3 brothers were about to say something else, the system announcement sounded. Chapter 93. Is it such a coincidence? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before the 3 brothers Lu, Guan and Zhang wanted to say something, the system announcement suddenly sounded. The World Hegemony event is about to begin. In 1 minute, the multinational fortress and special buildings will be opened. Please be prepared, Lord players. As soon as the voice fell, it was a 1-minute countdown. Zhu Zhao did not tease the 3 brothers anymore, because every turn of the second hand affects the hearts of Lord players from all countries. The World Hegemony event is finally about to begin, with the final countdown, 3, 2, 1. The moment the countdown ended, the invincible protective shield covering the multinational fortress dissipated. At the same time, special buildings with national characteristics began to be refreshed. In each country, each special building represents a huge amount of resources and props. Zhu Zhao took the lead in issuing orders to his own troops. Attack that this World Hegemony war will last for 25 days, and the experience gained is also huge. Try to get Louise and Dolores to level 40. As the order was issued, Louise led the Black Dragon to rush out first, followed by the Angel and the Vampire Prince. But the Cyclops stood still and began to condense the earth element and turn it into a boulder. This skill can also add damage to the city wall. At the same time, the army led by other lords who have been waiting for a long time also launched an attack. Because this is the first time for ordinary lords to participate in the event, all lord players are full of excitement and expectations. The most important thing is that this event is a virtual battlefield, and the soldiers will not really die, so what is there to be afraid of? It's over after killing. Although that's what I said, there should still be some strategies. Many lord players are divided into several directions, and the Xia army will send people to coordinate them uniformly. Of course, with Zhu Zhao's strength, he is not included in it. At this moment, with an order, nearly 10 billion troops roared and began to attack the fortress in an orderly manner. The scene was magnificent and majestic. The earth shook in the sky and the earth changed color. Even though Zhu Zhao had seen such a spectacular scene before, he was excited when he saw it again. Why don't men take Wugo and take over the 50 states of Guanshan? Of course, the first troops to reach the attack range of the multinational fortress must be Zhu Zhao's troops. Especially the Black Dragons led by Louise, who showed their warlike nature at this moment. As a flying troop, the city wall can't stop them. They flew directly over the wall of the multinational fortress and began to attack the city defense equipment. More than 1 million black dragons spit out dragon breath together. dyeing the sky red, the dragon breath went straight to the city defense equipment and ignited it. Then the angel's holy light judgment also fell, and the dazzling white light turned the originally red sky white again. The vampire prince consumed his own blood and released vampire bats one by one. 10 million vampire princes can summon up to 100 million vampire bats. While causing damage, it can also restore its own health. Soon, the guards on the city wall were covered by vampire bats. The garrison in each multinational fortress is about 500 million to 1 billion. For other Lord players, the strength should not be underestimated, however, facing the attack of Zhao's more than 10 million high-level soldiers, it seemed a little powerless. Level and attributes, completely crushed. The low-level guards in the multinational fortress were killed in seconds. Even the mid-level guards could only hold on for a while, and they turned into corpses and lay on the city wall. In the back, more Xia army arrived. The flying troops also began to clear the guards and city defense equipment on the city wall with Zhu Zhao's troops. And the ground troops began to break the city. Don't look at the durability of the multinational fortress as high as hundreds of millions, but facing so many troops, the durability is also rapidly declining, not to mention the attack of the Cyclops. Soon, the durability of one wall was emptied and gaps began to appear. After the ground troops saw the gap, they also filed in and began to attack the guards in the city. As the gaps in the city wall became more and more soldiers began to pour in. Although many soldiers of the Xia lords were killed, more soldiers followed in a continuous stream. Moreover, Zhu Zhao's soldiers were cleaning up the battlefield. Soon the guards were wiped out. Zhu Zhao also rode a black dragon and came to the Lord's Hall of the fortress. Choose to occupy. The next moment, the world announcement sounded. Congratulations to the Lord player Tianpeng, occupying the fortress numbered XG-BZG-01. The transmission channel has been opened. Please prepare in advance for the lords of both countries. As soon as the world announcement fell, a giant transmission gate appeared in this fortress. This is the transmission array from Xia to Bengzi. As long as you lead the troops through this transmission array, you can appear near the corresponding fortress of Bengzi. Since the fortress has been opened, what is there to hesitate? Zhu Zhao directly led his soldiers to the transmission gate. After being teleported to the Korean country, killing the Korean lord's troops will not only gain experience, but also points. Finally, the percentage of personal contribution will be determined based on the points of each lord player. The same is true for the defender. With your own troops, can you still be afraid of the Korean country? It's just a virtual battlefield, not to mention the angel resurrection bug. At the same time, Pu Buqing was also leading the army to attack the multinational fortress leading to Xia. However, due to the similar ranks of the troops and guards, he was not as fast as Zhu Zhao. Constantly charging and being killed, tens of thousands of troops died almost every moment. Pu Buqing was standing on the commanding heights at this moment, looking at the scene in front of him. His expression was calm, but his eyes were full of madness. Tianpeng and Xia, you wait. My country will definitely let you know how powerful we are. We cannot be humiliated. As soon as Pu Buqing finished speaking, he heard the world announcement. Pu Buqing looked at the army that was still attacking the city wall, his face full of disbelief. Is Xia so fast? It has already opened up the multinational fortress leading to Korea. And why does this number sound so familiar? After thinking carefully, he realized. Asaba, isn't this the multinational fortress in front of us? Xia's number is XG-BZG-01, while the number on the Korean side is BZG-XG-01. This fortress has been breached by Xia's side. Doesn't that mean that Xia's army will be teleported here through the fortress? Will they join the guards, or fight with the guards of the fortress in front of them? I hope it's the second one. Tianpeng set the first attack location as Korea, which he can understand, but there are so many multinational fortresses leading to Korea. Why did you Tianpeng choose this number? This is too coincidental, isn't it? Is this aimed at me? Is there a spy of Tianpeng in Korea? For a while, Pu Buqing was a little confused. However, the teleportation array was not opened in the multinational fortress as he wished. Instead, a huge teleportation gate appeared out of thin air not far from the Korean fortress. The next moment, the huge Xia army came out in a line. The first to bear the brunt was, of course, the 14th level Black Dragon led by Louise. Then came the 14th level Angel, The 13th level Bone Dragon, the 12th level Vampire Prince, and the huge 13th level Cyclops. Chapter 94, Invading the Korean Territory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pu Bucheng, who was standing on the commanding heights, discovered the portal at the first time due to his wide field of vision. He was shocked and stunned when he saw the Xia army coming out in a line. Not only him, but all the Korean lords gathered here were speechless. Is this Jinping's army? He had seen other types of troops, but not the Vampire Prince. Why is the number so large? Jinping's troops are not lower than high level. For a moment, all the Korean lords were shocked. The troops that Tianping brought before had turned the Korean country upside down, and now there are so many more. The previous lofty ambitions were extinguished by half. The arrogant Korean lords never thought that even without Tianping, with their strength, could they resist the Xia army. Pu Bucheng's reaction was still relatively quick. Turn around, attack the portal, and don't let more of the Xia army enter our country. After hearing this, the other lords of the Korean country reacted. They began to follow the command, change the direction of attack, and attack the portal. How could Zhu Zhao let them do what they wanted? Behind the portal, there are endless Xia troops waiting to be teleported. Attack and stop them. Soon the two sides met, and the war broke out. How could the Korean army be a match for Zhu Zhao's army, let alone the Black Dragon led by Louise? It was enough for the Korean lord's army to drink a pot. These big guys are all black, huge, and immune to magic. The combat power is so strong. Entering the battlefield from the air, a breath of dragon breath fell directly. The hot dragon breath instantly ignited the dense Korean troops below. The fire took advantage of the wind, and countless damage values floated up instantly. In the army of the Korean country, countless white lights lit up. Each white light represents the death of a unit of soldiers. Angels, undead bone dragons and vampires followed closely and arrived at the battlefield, attacking the Korean army frantically. The last one to enter was the Cyclops, standing in the distance, condensing the earth element and playing with stones, but this time he didn't throw it high, but just played like bowling, with the rolling of 1,000 boulders. The scene. The Korean lords were almost desperate. How can they fight? The rank crushing was too fierce. Magic attacks fell on the Black Dragon and were immune, and physical attacks basically did not break the defense, and could only cause force damage. It was not easy to concentrate fire to destroy a Black Dragon, but it was resurrected by the angels behind in the blink of an eye. What kind of fight is this? Fortunately, this World Hegemony event is a virtual battlefield, and the soldiers will not really die. Otherwise, I would have run away with the soldiers. This is completely queuing to die. Zhu Zhao's troops blocked the front, providing sufficient time for the troops of other lords of Xia to be transferred. At this moment, they also passed through the portal and entered the territory of Bangzi to join the battle. The army of Xia joined the battle through the portal of the multinational fortress. One after another. On the other hand, the Bangzi side was in a terrible state. The Bangzi army was overwhelmed by the army that was constantly transferred from Xia, and was dispersed without even a wave. More than half of the Bangzi army was killed, and the rest had been divided and surrounded. It was only a matter of time before they were destroyed. Behind the Bangzi army, Park Bucheng and other lords of Bangzi were all scared pale. Ashiba, Park Appa, called for support quickly. We can't hold on for long. Park Bucheng quickly opened the Bangzi regional chat channel. Jinping's people led the Xia army to the multinational fortress BZG, XG-01. The enemy is so numerous that we can't resist them. Please ask all the nearby Korean lords to quickly support us. We must stop the Xia army and let Xia know that Korea is not easy to bully. However, in fact, the situation here has long been spread throughout Korea through other Korean lords. Most of the Korean lords ignored Park Bucheng's request. Damn, you Park Bucheng can't resist the Xia army, and you still expect us to be able to resist it? I'm still supporting your side. Do you think you are the only one who needs support? We need it here too. So Park Bucheng could only sadly find that there were very few Korean lords who came to support him. Is this any different from giving the Xia lords extra meals? This also led to no suspense in the next battle, and the Korean lords hiding in the back also had the idea of retreating when they saw this situation. Park Appa, we are not Xia's opponent for the time being, so let's retreat first. When we gather the army again, we will counterattack Xia. Yes, Park Appa, the temporary retreat is just to better preserve our strength. Yes, Xia has a saying that goes, if you keep the Green Mountains, you will never be afraid of running out of firewood. Other Korean lords, at this time, you still mention Xia. The Korean lord also felt that he had said something wrong. I'm sorry, Appa, I was wrong. This is a saying that Xia stole from us. Everyone nodded in satisfaction. Park Buching was just worrying about how to ask for retreat, and now there is a way out. You strongly requested to retreat, and it has nothing to do with me as the commander. Then I will listen to you and retreat quickly. At the same time, I will issue an order as the commander-in-chief. Korean lords, abandon the defense of the fortress, retreat and join us. We must gather together and fight to the death with Xia. The Korean lords around looked at each other in bewilderment. Damn, I'll give you a way out, just run away quickly, and it's over. Will anyone listen to your order now? You are giving orders as the commander-in-chief of the alliance. Don't you know how you got the title of commander-in-chief? A Korean lord who was a little bolder still asked. Park Appa, in this situation, will any lord obey such an order? Park Buching didn't want to either. But his few people were really not enough to stop the Xia army. Instead of taking the blame himself, it would be better to drag all the Korean lords. Try it. Even if you fail, it's because the enemy is too strong. What does it have to do with me as the commander-in-chief? They have to come even if they don't want to. If Xia occupies all the special buildings in our country, we will be the defeated country and lose the right to enter other countries. What's the point of attacking other multinational fortresses now? The most important thing now is to use the whole country's strength to resist the invasion of Xia's army. Otherwise, our country will be the first country to be kicked out of the World Hegemony event. These words made all the lords of the country react. Park Appa is worthy of being the commander-in-chief. He considers the problem comprehensively. Seeing that everyone still didn't react, Park Buching became even more angry. What kind of subordinates are they? What are you still standing there for? Why don't you contact the various chaebol and ordinary lord players quickly? All the lords of the country must know the seriousness of the matter. The surrounding lords of the country reacted and began to contact each other. Some were responsible for contacting other chaebols in the country, and some were responsible for starting to tell the seriousness of the matter in the chat channel of the country area. Chapter 95 Park Busung was killed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the chat channel of the Korean region. Listen to me, all Korean lords. The Xia army has entered the Korean territory. We must unite against the enemy and repel Xia. Otherwise, we will become a defeated country, and the consequences can be imagined. As a defeated country, we will lose the right to attack special buildings and collect resources in special buildings. We will also need to hand over 50% of the resources to Xia within 1 month. According to the speed of the Xia army's advancement, it will take only a few days to occupy all our special buildings. Think about the consequences. Park Buchung's men kept brushing the seriousness of the matter in the Korean chat channel. The entire Korean chat channel was full of this kind of information, until finally a lord understood and began to express his position. They are right. We should unite against the enemy and jointly resist the Xia army. I am willing to join. For the sake of the Korean country, I am willing to join. I am willing to join too. Instantly, the Korean chat channel was flooded with messages agreeing to join. At the same time, countless Korean armies turned around and gathered towards the designated coordinates. Listening to his subordinates constantly reporting their results, Park Buchung was very pleased. It seems that the Korean lord still supports his decision as the commander-in-chief, even if he fails in the end. It is not because he is incompetent, but because Xia is too powerful. In the future, if there are activities, he can continue to be the commander-in-chief of the Korean alliance. While arranging the troops to retreat, Park Buchung secretly made up his mind. Xia, you wait and see. When I use the power of the whole country, it will be the time for you to perish. But maybe he forgot that with the population base of Korea, the power of the whole country is equivalent to the population of an ordinary province in Xia. Although Park Buchung was arranging the army to retreat, did Zhu Zhao agree with their retreat? Now that the battlefield situation has been controlled by the Lord of Xia, let's give Park Buching a surprise. Putting all his troops into the space tower, Zhu Zhao led the hero around to the front of Park Buching's retreating army, waiting for Park Buching. Surprises always come, and the best are the unexpected ones. In the portal of the number 01 multinational fortress, there are still a steady stream of Xia lords joining the battlefield. In fact, the group of Xia lords who joined Zhu Zhao to capture the number 1 fortress at the beginning have all entered the Korean territory. It's just that someone in the Xia chat channel keeps showing off. He said that the people who followed the Tianping boss have entered the Korean territory and are killing people everywhere. This made the lords who attacked other multinational fortresses leading to the Korean territory nearby envious. Since there is a portal to enter the Korean territory, some lords will be left to slowly capture other multinational fortresses. The remaining lords all passed through the portal of the number 01 fortress and began to provide continuous support, and just after coming out, I saw that the Korean army was constantly retreating. So what are you waiting for? Can't you beat the drowning dog? Such a good opportunity to earn points. Of course you have to rush. At the same time, in the chat channel of the Xia Kingdom, the 3 brothers Lu, Guan, and Zhang kept bragging about how they followed the big brother Beiji to easily conquer the Korean kingdom. Zhu Zhao played an indispensable role in the fact that the Xia Kingdom was able to capture fortress number 01, enter the Korean territory, and repel the Korean army in such a short time. The lords of the Xia Kingdom who came to support shouted when they saw this situation. Charge, kill all these Korean lords. Kill, try to take down the entire Korean kingdom within 3 days. While shouting, they launched a fierce attack on the retreating remnants of the Korean army, and the remnants of the Korean army also retreated to the designated position under the command of Park Buching. At this moment, at the forefront of the retreating army, Park Buching was listening to the battle report of his men. Park Appa, since the start of the war of hegemony among nations, our army has suffered 2/3 of casualties, and the number of casualties is still increasing. The army of the Xia Kingdom is chasing us closely. Park Buching's face turned black when he heard this number. Although they were not really dead, these armies were his hope to resist Xia. No country wants to be defeated. What are the casualties of Xia's invading army? The subordinates answered cautiously. Xia's Tianping troops are too strong. It is estimated that Xia's overall casualties will not exceed 10 million. After hearing this number, Park Buching was silent. He suffered casualties of 2/3 of his army, but Xia suffered about 10 million casualties. How can this battle continue? Seeing Park Buching silent, his subordinates hurriedly explained. Park Appa, it's because Tianping's troops are too strong that our army seems vulnerable. Yes, if Xia didn't have Tianping, Xia would definitely not be our Korean opponent. As long as we find a way to deal with Tianping's troops, we can continue to fight the 10,000 nations hegemony event. Park Buching glanced at everyone and really wanted to scold them, but now is the time to use people, so I thought it was better to forget it. Don't you know how powerful the Tianping army is? I want to solve it myself, but you should give me a solution. Before Pu Buching could think about it, a large black army attacked from the sky in front of them. He looked up. Damn. Isn't this the Tianping army? It's the Tianping army. Ashiba, when did Tianping's troops run ahead of us? Damn it, Tianping's troops disappeared in the rear. Why didn't those people report such an important situation? Seeing the troops flying over, Pu Buching shouted. Enemy attack, defend quickly. As soon as the voice fell, Zhu Zhao's army had already flown over Pu Buching and began to release skills to attack. The army of the Korean country was like a headless fly, running around everywhere. They couldn't organize an effective defense at all. There were tigers blocking the way in front and wolves chasing behind. How could you let them resist? Countless troops turned into white light and contributed. In such a battle situation, Zhu Zhao was too lazy to use the special effects of the Bible of the Dead. It's better to use it as a backup and give the Korean country a big surprise in the end. At this time, the whole battlefield was in chaos. More and more Xia lords followed in the rear. Under the joint attack, even Pu Buching himself could not escape, submerged by the black dragon. That was so miserable. The Korean lord who was rushing to the designated coordinates was also stunned after learning the news of Park Buching's death. What's going on? Park Buching was killed. Should I rush to the designated coordinates? In the Korean regional chat channel. Ashiba, who can tell me what's going on? How could Park Appa be killed? Yes, isn't Park Appa already on the way to retreat? The latest news is that Park Appa was ambushed by the Tianping army, which led to the annihilation of the entire army. Ashiba, the entire army was annihilated? Should we still meet at the designated coordinates? As soon as this question was asked, the Korean chat channel was instantly silent. Yes, even Park Appa's army was annihilated. Should I still rush to the coordinates to meet? After a moment of silence in the chat channel, another Korean appeared. He is another representative of the military, Park Byuki. Temporarily took over the command of Pu Buchung. Pu Buchung had been killed at this time and was not eligible to participate in the World Hegemony event. Pu Byuki was still commanding in the chat channel at this time. Ashiba, I am Pu Byuki, temporarily taking over the command of Pu Buchung. The plan continues. All the lords of the Korean country still converge on the predetermined coordinates. If we don't drive out the lord of the Xia country, we will become a defeated country. We still have hundreds of billions of troops, and we must persist to the end. Chapter 96 The decisive battle begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the chat channel of the Korean country, Pu Byuki was still making the final mobilization. This is the only hope for our Korean country. If we cannot resist the invasion of Xia, we will become a defeated country. You don't want to hand over half of the resources you have collected in a month to Xia, right? Under Pu Byuki's earnest persuasion, the other lords of the Korean country were finally stabilized, continue to converge towards the designated coordinates, but the lords of the Korean country don't know that it is precisely because they converged that the speed of the defeat of the Korean country was accelerated. Zhu Zhao will have a big gift for them. At this moment, the lords of the Korean country are still cheering themselves up in the chat channel. Converge towards the designated coordinates to defend our Korean country. Don't be afraid of Xia, our Korean country is the first in the universe, and we must let Xia know how powerful we are. Share the same hatred and resist Xia. We have a huge army of hundreds of billions, and the final victory will definitely belong to us. Point one after another, bold words were swiped in the chat channel, but only those Korean lords who waved the flags and shouted knew how much they were saying against their will. Can they really resist the army of Xia? Obviously not. Those who helped wave the flags and shouted were just people from the major chaebols. They had to mobilize enough ordinary Korean lords to have a glimmer of hope to resist the army of Xia. If they lost the war, the biggest losses would definitely be these chaebols. There was no other way. They had to bite the bullet. The battle at Fortress number 01 was over, and all the Korean army had been annihilated. At this moment, Zhu Zhao was riding on the back of the Black Dragon, continuing to advance deep into the Korean country. Opening the map, it marked all the special buildings that were refreshed in the Korean country. There were 20 in total. It was the same number as the last time the world boss refreshed in various places within the Korean country. Zhu Zhao was a little skeptical. Are there 20 buildings with Korean characteristics in reality in the Korean country? However, the primary goal now is not to capture special buildings, but to deal with all the defenders of the Korean country first. Only after the Korean lords are almost cleared out, can Xiagwa collect special buildings safely. At this moment, there are already tens of billions of Xiagwa troops entering the Korean territory, and there are still a steady stream of Xiagwa lords coming behind. This number is enough. And he still has a big gift that has not been sent out, so Zhu Zhao used Beiji's panel to send a message in the chat channel of the Xiagwa area. All Xiagwa lords who entered the Korean territory, listen carefully. When you come, Tianping boss told you in advance not to rush to capture special buildings, and to eliminate the Korean army before capturing. If you don't listen to the advice, you will bear the consequences. This is not Zhu Zhao's alarmist talk, nor can it be blamed for being too strong. This is a lesson learned from the blood and tears of countless countries in the previous life. After invading other countries, the lords of their own side coveted special buildings, and before clearing the resistance forces, they dispersed and captured special buildings separately. As a result, there are countless examples of counterattacks. In the end, they could only withdraw from the battlefield of the hegemony of all nations in advance, and even some countries were greatly affected by this. Zhu Zhao didn't want this to happen to Xia. so, he deliberately sent a message to remind those overly happy lords of Xia. Soon, Zhu Zhao's message was pinned to the top and received a lot of responses. Among them, of course, the three brothers Lu, Guan, and Zhang were the leaders. Resolutely obey the orders of the Tianping boss and follow the footsteps of the Beiji boss. Always support the Tianping boss and the Beiji boss. You are our guiding light. Me too. It must be said that the name of Tianping still has a little influence in Xia. After this message was sent, some Xia lords who originally planned to take shortcuts also gave up this idea. What a joke. Tianping said that the consequences are at their own risk. They don't want to try how to bear the consequences, for fear that they will die if they try. So they all followed Zhu Zhao's troops and continued to go deeper into the Korean territory to find the Korean army, with Tianping's troops. Exploring the way ahead, there was no need to worry about an ambush. At this time, Pu Chichi had already arrived at the designated coordinates. At this time, hundreds of billions of Korean troops had gathered in this area. The number was almost the same as the army entering Xia. Zhu Zhao also brought the Xia army and came here along the route of the Korean army. More than 100 billion troops confronted each other on both sides, and there were still a steady stream of troops coming to support both sides. Zhu Zhao didn't want to wait any longer, and immediately issued an attack order. Wait a minute, he would give a big gift to the Korean lords to let them know what despair is. Attack, destroy all the Korean lords and troops, and then you can mine special buildings with peace of mind. At this moment, at Zhu Zhao's order, the hundreds of billions of troops behind him roared to the sky and began to attack. Zhu Zhao's troops also set an example. They were the first to arrive above the battlefield and massacred the Korean army that was all over the mountains. Zhu Zhao also rode a black dragon and arrived above the battlefield under the protection of the undead bone dragon, looking at the piles of corpses below. Why should I be polite? Here is a great gift. Take out the Bible of the Dead and start the special effect of resurrection of the dead. As countless black air is shot out, guided by the power of the dead, the corpses on the battlefield begin to stand up one by one, then they become their own army of undead, marching slowly and attacking the army of the Korean country. Zhu Zhao rides on the black dragon and keeps repeating one thing, resurrecting the soldiers who have become corpses. As more and more soldiers die, more and more undead are resurrected by the Bible of the Dead, from millions to tens of millions, from tens of millions to hundreds of millions, finally, even billions. Don't underestimate these billions of undead armies, because they are all free and have time limits. They won't feel bad if they die. These undead became the vanguard of the attack. Soon, the defense line of the Korean army was torn open with countless holes. And the army of the Lord of the Xia country swarmed in through the holes. Crazy destruction of the Korean army. The Korean and Xia lords had similar military strength. However, there was the crazy attack of Zhu Zhao's army, and the Bible of the Dead constantly revived the undead. One side gained while the other lost. Soon, the Korean lords could not hold on and began to show a trend of defeat. This way of fighting to support the war, like the angel's resurrection technique, can be called a bug. At this moment, the battlefield here has become the hell of the Korean country. The undead, revived by the Bible of the Dead, finally remained at about 5 billion. At this moment, they are attacking the remaining Korean army one after another. Although many Korean lords came over in the later period, the population is limited after all. On the other hand, there has been a steady stream of lords joining the battlefield on the Xia side. At this moment, the defeat of the Korean army is a foregone conclusion. The army gathered here has been beaten to only 1/5 of it. Helplessly, the surviving Korean lords plan to lead their army to retreat to the major special buildings, and fight a protracted war with the Xia army. How could the Xia army do as they wished? Of course, they pursued them relentlessly. Chapter 97. The first defeated country appears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While Zhu Zhao led the Xia army to fight the Bangzi kingdom, the lords of other countries were not idle either, and the same war was going on. For example, Japan. At this moment, the army was led by Mtlnove and was fighting some small countries on the southeast sides across the sea. There was no way Mtlnove didn't dare to provoke Xia at present. Now was not the time. As for Bangzi, the Xia army had already entered. If he went there again, it would be just adding to the Xia army's food. Big countries can't be provoked, and some small countries can't be fought. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. You can only fight the small countries on the southeast sides to maintain your life, of course. Meituan Naiku still has ambitions, because he has reached an alliance with the Eagle Sauce country. He is eyeing the ASEAN country in the southern continent, but it's not the time yet. In the western continent, the army of the Eagle Sauce country, led by Arthur and others, was frantically expanding towards the southeast. They were fighting fiercely with the small countries in the southeast. After they took over the entire western continent, they would attack the ASEAN country in the southern continent together with Japan. ASEAN country is also a country with a large population, which is a tough nut to crack. It is not easy for the Eagle Sauce country to take it down. At first, the Eagle Sauce country planned to form an alliance with the Xia country, but was rejected. Then it formed an alliance with Japan and other countries. Of course, the idea is good. The premise of this plan is that no major changes can occur. After all, the Xia country and Japan are not too far apart, and with the hatred between the two countries for many years, can the Xia country easily let Japan go? At the same time, the Xia country was also fighting fiercely, the ASEAN country in the southern continent, and a small part of the Maoxiong country in the northern continent, actually opened up a multinational fortress leading to the Xia country. These are also within expectations. Lei Zhenzi has sent a lot of troops to contain them. They led the army and concentrated in the southwest corner of Xia country to attack some small countries there. This is Blue Star, please don't bring it into Earth. And the army of Bangzi country, which was gathered together at this time, was basically wiped out. Even if there were some remnants left, they would not be able to make a difference. At this time, Zhu Zhao also started to shout in the Xia country chat channel. All Xia country lords who entered the Bangzi territory began to attack special buildings. After occupying them, everyone will mine resources together. Each special building has many guards, and it is definitely impossible to defeat it by a single lord. Of course, Zhu Zhao, the pervert, is an exception. Not only are there more than 10 million high-level soldiers, but also the Bible of the Dead, a prop that can be called a bug. It is still possible to capture a special building alone. After occupying a special building, the most important thing is of course to mine resources. The basic resource reserves of each special building are more than 100 billion, it is each basic resource, not all. In addition to these, there is also a chance to collect some time acceleration cards, forbidden spell scrolls, equipment treasure chests, etc. Special buildings are the biggest prize during the War of Nations. At this time, when Zhu Zhao started, the talent of the system reward was reflected. The Korean country has basically been taken down. Now Zhu Zhao's biggest idea is to lead the Xia lords to take down all the special buildings of the Korean country. Then as a reward, everyone will collect together. As long as you can get enough benefits. Then next, after Zhu Zhao sent this message, it instantly ignited the passion of all the Xia lords in the Korean country. Finally, it's time to harvest. Isn't participating in the War of Nations for this? The chat channel is also overjoyed. Long live Tianping, long live Beiji. Next is the hunting time. I confess, I admit my mistakes. I admit that I judged others by my own standards. At first, I thought Beiji didn't let us occupy the special buildings because he wanted to occupy them all by himself. I was wrong. Haha, Tianping is generous, Beiji is generous. This is the style of a boss. In this case, I won't be polite. I've been thirsty for a long time. Zhu Zhao looked at the messages flashing in the chat channel. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised. This batch of special buildings in the Korean country was just a starting point. Let Xiagua take off from here. After receiving all the arms in the space tower, Zhu Zhao opened the system map and began to check the refreshed special building coordinates. After finding the nearest special building, Zhu Zhao rode Louise and set off. Soon, he came to the special building numbered BZG-10. After arriving, there was no delay. After releasing the troops, they began to attack the special building. The defenders of the special building were like paper, and the building was quickly occupied. The world announcement also sounded at this time. Xiagua successfully occupied the special building numbered BZG-10 of the Korean country, and Xiagua obtained the mining rights of the special building. After hearing the news, the Xiagua lord in the Korean country was stunned at first, and then ecstatic, and the remaining lord of the Korean country was so sad after hearing this announcement. This is our special building. Pu Bucheng and Pu Buki, who got the news, were already mad at this time. They blamed each other. Pu Buki said that they should not have gathered together to fight against the army of Xia State. They should have listened to his advice and occupied the special buildings and collected resources first. Pu Bucheng said that since you knew that this would be the consequence, why did you continue to gather and fight against Xia State when you took over the command? How can you be a good commander-in-chief of the alliance without any ideas? Just as the two of them were arguing, the army of Xia State was constantly occupying the special buildings of the Korean country. Xia State occupied the special building No. BZG-02 of the Korean country, and Xia State obtained the mining rights of this special building. It took about a day, and all the special buildings in the territory of the Korean country were finally occupied. A new world announcement sounded. All special buildings of the Korean country were occupied by Xia State, and the Korean country became the defeated country of Xia State. All lords of the Korean country will lose the qualification for the 10,000 Nations Hegemony event. When this world announcement sounded, players from all countries were in an uproar. So far, the Battle of Nations has been open for just over a day, and the Korean country has become the first defeated country. Is the strength of Xia country so strong? And the lords of Xia country are overjoyed and celebrate. Spread flowers. It turns out that our Xia country is the strongest. Please, can you calculate the psychological shadow area of the Korean lord players at this moment? I am not very good, but this does not need to be calculated at all. The first defeated country is absolutely 100%. This result can also be regarded as the first in the world. Yes, 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 you are right, the last one is also the first. On the other hand, the chat channel of the Korean country is silent. No lord comes out to swipe the screen. Even Pu Bucheng and Pu Buki were forced to log off after hearing that the Korean country became the first defeated country. Now, they are being scolded by the leaders of the Korean country. In this battle of nations, the face of the Korean country was pressed to the ground and rubbed hard by the Xia country. It's even more embarrassing than the last time Tianping snatched the world boss. It's only been more than a day. They are even worse than some small countries. This is a shame. And it's a self-inflicted shame. Why provoke the Xia Kingdom Lord player for no reason? A feeling called regret began to spread, but with the morality of the Korean country, it is estimated that it will soon be forgotten. Chapter 98. The next target, Japan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time in the Western continent, Arthur looked a little heavy after hearing the world announcement. In more than a day, Xia State wiped out the entire army of the Korean lord and occupied 20 special buildings in the Korean country. Xia State is stronger than we thought. Damn Xia State, why did you refuse our alliance? Google search TWKAN Zeus, another military representative next to him, shrugged. Xia State does not agree to the alliance. What can we do? And we will have a war with Xia State sooner or later. What are you going to do next? Arthur pondered for a moment. Speed up the pace of attacking the western continent, and then take over the southern continent together with Japan. I don't believe that the final ranking will be lower than Xia State. Zeus shook his head without comment. I hope Xia State has different ideas from us, otherwise the southern continent will become a battlefield for both of us in advance. At this time in the Korean country, 20 special buildings are waiting for the favor of the Xia State Lord. Each special building has more than 100 billion basic resources. What are you waiting for? Start mining. And every time he captures a special building, Zhu Zhao uses the Bible of the Dead to revive the guards of the building into undead, then he arranges them to collect in the special building. At this time, you must race against time. Although the undead only exist for 2 hours, there are many of them, and they can also enjoy the bonus of Zhu Zhao's talent. Of course, the undead will decrease over time. But the resources collected are also massive. At this moment, Zhu Zhao keeps receiving information about successful collection. It has been refreshed on the screen. Listening to the prompt sound is like hearing the most beautiful music in the world. The hundreds of billions of Xia army, scattered in various special buildings in the country of Bangzi, began to collect on a large scale, busy and happy. Zhu Zhao's army collection speed is 1 for 99, although there are many lords in Xia, Zhu Zhao still has the biggest harvest. Those ordinary lords have no objection. After all, there are so many things. If you are quick, you will get them. What's more, this harvest is enough for them to be happy. This is only the second day of the Battle of Nations, and the war lasted for 25 days. The Korean country alone has such a big harvest, so what will happen next? The lords of Xia country are all eager to fight. Soon, all the special buildings of the Korean country were collected. Most of the ordinary lords of Xia country who invaded the Korean country have millions or even tens of millions of basic resources, and Zhu Zhao has the biggest harvest. The basic resources alone are nearly 200 billion. Other time acceleration cards, equipment, scrolls, etc. are not counted. At this moment, the resources have been collected almost, and the troops have rested for a while. It's time to make the next plan. While resting, open the chat channel in Xia country. At this time, the lords who entered the Korean country with Zhu Zhao can't wait to continue attacking the next target. Big Brother Beiji, where should we attack next? Yes, Big Brother Beiji, I can't wait. Did Big Brother Tianping tell us the next plan before we came? Just waiting for Big Brother Beiji to take us to eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks. Zhu Zhao also smiled as he looked at the messages that were flooding the chat channel. The army's morale is available. Opening the map, the Bangzi Kingdom and its neighboring Jin Kingdom have turned green. This shows that both countries have been occupied by the Xia Kingdom. I contacted Lei Jinzi again and roughly knew the situation of the war between the countries. The Japanese kingdom is marching towards the southern continent. And the lords of the Asen Kingdom who entered the territory of the Xia Kingdom have been blocked by people arranged by Lei Jinzi. And they also occupied part of the territory of the Asen Kingdom in turn, and the Eagle Sauce Kingdom actually began to march towards the Asen Kingdom. Do you all look down on the strength of the third brother? In this case, the next target is the Japanese Kingdom. First, the distance is short, and the multinational fortress can be directly teleported there. Second, the Japanese must be empty at this time, so we should take advantage of their weakness to kill them. After we take down Japan, we will also go to the South Continent to join in the fun. After all the troops have rested enough. Zhu Zhao began to speak in the Xia chat channel. All lords who have entered the Korean territory, listen to my order. All members gather in the southeast of the Korean country. The next target is Japan. With the sweetness of 20 special buildings in the Korean country, the lords of the Xia country have been rubbing their hands and waiting for orders. When they learned that the next target was Japan, even the lords of the Xia country who received the news later were still rushing to the Korean country and marching towards the southeast of the Korean country. The chat channel was even more heated. Comrades, follow the big boss Beiji and you will have meat to eat. Let's go, let's go. I was so excited when I heard that we were going to fight Japan. I'm already on my way to join the army. Since we are going to fight Japan, I, the anti-Japanese youth, must also help out. Yes, we are not here for those special buildings in Japan, we just want to go to Japan to see the cherry blossoms. I am going to Japan mainly to ask when the Foxconn volcano will erupt. Japan has been an inseparable part of Xia's territory since ancient times. We are going back to our own territory. Zhu Zhao peeked at the screen from time to time, but did not express any opinions. Come on, the more the better. The territory of Japan is about 4 times that of Korea, and the number of lords is twice as much. Even if some of them went to the southern continent, it would take some effort to deal with the remaining army. Moreover, Japan has refreshed 40 special buildings, which is twice as many as Korea, enough to satisfy the appetite of the Xia lords who continue to come. A few hours later, more than 100 billion Xia troops have arrived in the southeast of Korea to join. This is the refresh area of the multinational fortress heading to Japan. In order to resist the Xia army, Korea did not leave any defensive troops here. The multinational fortress that Korea can teleport to Japan is intact. The Korean side did not launch an attack, and the Japanese side did not invade Korea. After the army that joined here assigned their tasks, the war began. The troops led by Zhu Zhao attacked the BZG WG-03 fortress. Compared with the defenders of the Xia multinational fortress, the defenders here are much smaller. In this case, what are we waiting for? Zhu Zhao's troops were the first to join the battlefield. The primary target was the city defense equipment. The only threat to Zhu Zhao's troops in the multinational fortress was the city defense equipment. After all the city defense equipment was solved, and without waiting for the other armies of the Xia kingdom to break the city, Louise led the troops into the multinational fortress and carried out an inhumane massacre of the defenders inside. The sky was full of white light, which turned into experience and contributed to the upgrade of the troops. As the durability of the city wall returned to zero, the gap opened. It also ignited the passion of the Xia Kingdom Lord, and more troops rushed to the peak. Soon the battle ended and the multinational fortress was occupied. At the same time, the system announcement sounded. Zhu Zhao didn't care. At the moment when the system announcement sounded, he had led his army to the portal. He walked in directly. The Xia Kingdom Lords behind him also followed closely with their respective troops. Chapter 99, Invasion of Japan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Entering the portal of the multinational fortress, it was as if passing through a thin layer of water film. When Zhu Zhao led the army out again, they had already arrived in the territory of Japan. Sure enough, there were not many Japanese lords guarding here. Most of them should have gone to defend the multinational fortress directly bordering Xia or followed Mtlnove to the southern continent. At this moment, the garrison near this multinational fortress is only a few hundred million. How can a few hundred million garrison resist the continuous flow of hundreds of billions of troops? The war broke out, and it was a complete crushing. At this moment, the Japanese garrison was scared silly. Hasn't the Korean country become a defeated country? Where did the army come from? Fortunately, the Japanese lords are not all full of astringent minds, some are still sensitive. Baga, this is the Xia army coming. Hurry up and call for support. With our limited number of troops, how can we resist the Xia army? Don't you see that there are still a steady stream of troops coming through the portal? Baga, I said not to go to the southern continent at the beginning. Now it's all right. The Xia army is still coming. Hurry up and notify Mr. Meichuan and ask him to come back for help, otherwise how can we resist Xia? That the thing that Japan was most worried about still happened, but they didn't expect that the Xia army would enter Japan from the multinational fortress of the Korean country. With the number of Japanese defenders here, how to resist the Xia army? Before they could think too much, the Xia army had already overwhelmed the Japanese troops guarding here. Then they continued to advance into the Japanese territory, sweeping all the way. The incident happened suddenly, and Japan could not organize an effective defense at all. At this time, the news that the Xia army entered the Japanese territory through the multinational fortress in the Korean territory had reached the ears of Meichuan Naiku. At this moment, Yumeko Naiku had just led the Japanese army into the territory of Asen in the southern continent. Before he had time to start killing people, he received the news that his nest had been stolen. Baga Yalu, the damn Xia lord actually attacked Japan. He entered from the Korean country. This is a sneak attack, not in line with the spirit of Bushido. The faces of other Japanese lords also changed drastically. Lord Yumeko, what should we do now? We have just entered Asen and have not had time to make achievements. Yes, Lord Yumeko, should we make achievements first, or go back to help first? Yumeko Naiku's face became even gloomier at this moment. Baga, of course we should go back to help. Once Xia takes down all the special buildings of Japan, we will become a defeated country. At that time, let alone making achievements, even the qualification to participate in the 10,000 nations hegemony will be cancelled. Notify the army to go back to help immediately. After speaking, Yumeko Naiku hurriedly opened his friend list, found Arthur, who had allied with him before, and made a voice call. At this time, Arthur, who had already entered the Asen kingdom in the southern continent, was commanding the Eagle Sauce coalition to advance. Suddenly, he received a voice call from Meichuan Naiku, and he had a bad feeling. Will something go wrong? He quickly answered the call. Meichuan Naiku, has something happened? And the slightly anxious voice of Meichuan Naiku came from the other side. Sir Arthur, the Xia army has invaded my Japanese territory from the Korean country, and I want to go back to help. But I hope that as an ally, you will go back with me and defeat the Xia army. Hearing this, Arthur frowned slightly and began to think, is it worth it to go back to Japan with Meichuan Naiku? After analyzing the pros and cons, a sneer hung at the corner of his mouth. Pretend to hesitate for a moment. Meichuan Naiku, it is not appropriate for my Eagle Sauce coalition to enter your Japanese country at this time. Hearing Arthur's words, Meichuan Naiku became more anxious. Sir Arthur, how can it be inappropriate? With the strength of Xia, our Japanese will definitely not be able to resist for long. We are allies. As long as you, the Eagle Sauce country, and I come back together to help, we will definitely be able to destroy the Xia army. Wouldn't it be better if we invade Xia together at that time? That what's the use of saying it nicely? Arthur is not a fool, how could he do as he wished? Letting Japan consume the strength of Xia is more in line with the interests of the Eagle Sauce country. Arthur was silent for a moment. Meichuan Naiku, my Eagle Sauce country coalition forces are all concentrated in the northwest of the southern continent, and the multinational fortresses leading to Japan are all in the northeast, and there is the entire ASEAN country between the two places. You go back to help first, and wait until I conquer the entire ASEAN country, and then go to support your Japanese country. At this time, Meichuan Naiku also understood what Arthur meant. Isn't it just that he wants himself to go back to help first? Wait and see the situation later to see if there is any benefit. If there is a benefit, your Eagle Sauce country can come in time, and if there is no benefit, your Eagle Sauce country can do nothing to help. Yumeko Naiku wanted to make a final struggle. Sir Arthur, it was your Eagle country that wanted to form an alliance with my Japanese country. Aren't we allies? You are now. Arthur did not give Yumeko Naiku a chance to continue. Okay, I have a tight battle line here, and I have to go to command. I will call you back when the battle situation stabilizes. After saying that, he hung up the voice chat. Yumeko Naiku was furious when he saw the voice chat being hung up. Baga, shitty ally, I knew that the Eagle country was untrustworthy. Damn Arthur, you wait. The Japanese lords around were also furious after knowing the details. At the same time, the glimmer of hope that had just risen in his heart also sank to the bottom with Arthur's refusal. Sir Yumeko, what should we do now? What can Meichuan Naiku do? He is also helpless, facing the army of Xia. It is definitely impossible to defeat it, he said with some gritted teeth. Since the Eagle Sauce country is not trustworthy, let's go back and negotiate with Xia. At this time, Zhu Zhao was leading the Xia army to sweep across the entire Japan. So far, the number of Xia troops that have invaded Japan has reached 200 billion, not only those sent from the Korean country. Some lords heard that Tianping's people had led the army to invade Japan, and they also wanted to get a piece of the pie, spontaneously organized. They attacked the multinational fortress leading to Japan in the northeast of Xia. Another army of tens of billions joined. The two sides simultaneously advanced from the west and north of Japan, hoping to meet together as soon as possible. For a time, the entire Japan was in flames, facing the invasion of Xia. The Japanese lords also showed great unity and rose up to resist, but it was useless. The Xia army was not something that these Japanese troops who stayed behind could resist. For a time, the Japanese lords suffered heavy losses. In just half a day, half of the territory in Japan had been occupied by the Xia army, and Meichuan Naiku also withdrew from the territory of ASEAN in the southern continent and returned to the Japanese mainland. Then he gathered the remaining Japanese troops and headed straight to the north. The Xia army had occupied the entire northern part of Japan at this time. And as time went by, it was still advancing forward. At this time, all the Xia lords who entered the Japanese territory were in high spirits, and there was no psychological burden at all when slaughtering the Japanese lords. Of course, the troops led by Zhu Zhao played a key role. Every time he encountered the Japanese army that defended in advance, his troops would be like a sharp blade, forcibly tearing open the defense line of the Japanese army, opening several holes, and providing convenience for the Xia army behind. What's more, there is the special effect of resurrecting the undead, which continuously resurrects the free undead army, and they continue to attack the Japanese army. With Zhu Zhao as the vanguard, the morale of the Xia lords behind is even higher, especially when facing the Japanese. Their combat effectiveness is extraordinary. Chapter 100 Xia Nation's strength is terrifying. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Faced with the skyrocketing combat power of Xia, what can the Japanese lords do to resist? Taiwan Novel Network that rely on stubbornness. Of course, the skyrocketing combat power comes at the cost of reckless damage. After a series of fierce battles, Xia also suffered a lot of damage, but compared with the Japanese army, it still has a great advantage. With the continuous advancement, all the lords of Xia also gathered together, and Meichuan Naiku also led the remaining Japanese army to meet the Xia army in the middle of Japan. The two sides confronted each other, and the swords were drawn, and the time for the resurrection of the undead can only last for 2 hours. For Zhu Zhao, once the war starts, it cannot be stopped, so in the face of the decisive battle with Japan, there was no excessive hesitation, and he directly ordered a forced attack. Whether it is the number or quality of the army, it can crush Japan. What else needs to be prepared? The Xia army was all over the mountains and plains at this time, like a flood that had been opened. It was madly devouring the Japanese army in front of it. Looking at the crazy attack of the Xia army, the Japanese lord was also frightened and swallowed his saliva. Although he was not scared to death, he was also confused. Baga, the Xia army is too fierce, we can't resist it at all. Now I finally know why the Korean country was taken down after just over a day. It's too scary. What's the use of saying this now? There are still a steady stream of lords coming from Xia. Xia's hatred for us Japanese is too great, and we will definitely lose if this continues. Yumeko Naiku listened to the discussions of the Japanese lords around him, and his face was full of bitterness. Mr. Yumeko, what should we do now? Hearing his subordinates start to ask him, Yumeko Naiku was also helpless, and he also wanted to know what to do now. But as a representative of the Japanese military, he couldn't retreat. Thinking of Arthur's face, he gritted his teeth and said, I'll try to negotiate with Xia and cede all the special buildings of our Japanese country so that Xia will let us go. As soon as this was said, the Japanese lords around were stunned. What does it mean? Is this to cede land and pay compensation? There is no other way now. Defeat is a matter of time. Mr. Meichuan, given the current war situation, do you think Xia will agree? Meichuan Naiku took a deep breath and shook his head. I don't know, but this is the only way I can think of. Let's give it a try. Otherwise, our Japanese country will follow in the footsteps of the Korean country in a few days. The strategy of ceding land and paying compensation is to say that we don't want to be defeated so quickly. The ranking of countries in the 10,000 nations hegemony is based on the number of special buildings occupied by each country, the area of land occupied, the time of defeat, the number of soldiers killed, etc., and is evaluated together. The higher the ranking, the richer the reward. Now the only solution Meichuan Naiku could think of was to cede the special buildings of Japan to Xia, and then ask Xia to slow down the pace of occupying Japan. In this way, the time of becoming a defeated country can be delayed, so that Japan can rank higher after the end of the 10,000 nations competition. At the same time, he can also use this time to conquer other countries in order to get a higher ranking. After weighing the pros and cons, this is the best solution he can think of. No longer hesitating, he began to contact Lei Jinzi, the representative of the Xia military, but he didn't know that at this time, all the strategies of Xia were carried out around Zhu Zhao's plan, and it was surprisingly smooth. Contacting Lei Jinzi didn't help much. In the end, he still had to ask Zhu Zhao's opinion. After the voice was connected, Meichuan Naiku didn't dare to delay. After all, Japan suffered countless losses in every second. Sir Lei Jinzi, I am willing to cede all the special buildings of our Japan, and ask to slow down the pace of Xia's attack on Japan. Lei Jinzi just said to discuss it, hung up the voice, and called Zhu Zhao instead. Zhu Zhao laughed like a pig after hearing this. This Meichuan Naiku is also a genius. He can actually think of this way to improve the ranking of Japan in the competition of all nations. Do you need to cede land and pay compensation? These will belong to my Xia sooner or later. What's more, do you keep so many Japanese troops as time bombs? Who doesn't know what a grassy nation you are in Japan? If you give Xia a knife in the end, you won't have a place to cry. Only the dead Japanese lords are good lords. It is safe and reliable to directly wipe out Japan. Zhu Zhao directly asked Lei Jinzi to reject Japan. Meichuan Naiku received the news of Xia's rejection, which was also expected. Sure enough, the final result still developed in the direction he least wanted to see. Xia wanted to fight with them in Japan. And the final result, there is no need to think about it, Japan will lose. It's just a matter of time. Xia has a large population base, many lords, and there is also a pervert like Tianping. It is enough to support Xia's multi-front operations, and considering the years of hatred between Japan and Xia, they must have received special care. Yumeko and Naiku could only be furious. Bakayashi, Xia is going to kill all of us, Japan. Damn Xia, damn eagle sauce. Since we can't negotiate, we can only fight. Then Yumeko and Naiku gave the order. Listen to me, all Japanese lords. Even if we become the defeated country, we can't let Xia country have an easy life. We must make them pay the price. Attack them all. At this time, Zhu Zhao also gave the same order. Speed up the pace of attack and kill all Japanese people. Revenge is now. Hurry up and flatten Japan. Get what you should grab. You still need to make the next plan. With Zhu Zhao's order, the battle became more intense. Zhu Zhao also kept using the special effects of the Bible of the Dead to revive the dead. As the war continued, Zhu Zhao's number of killed enemies continued to increase, from billions at the beginning to hundreds of billions now, and the number is still increasing. The number of killed enemies is related to how many points can be obtained and the final contribution ratio, of course, more than half of. This number was killed by the revived undead. As the Xia army attacked frantically, the number of corpses continued to increase. The Japanese lords also fell into the dilemma of the Korean lords at the beginning. As more and more undead spirits revived, the army of Xia kingdom became more and more powerful, and its morale became higher and higher. The Japanese kingdom kept retreating, and its morale became lower and lower. The final result can be imagined. In the end, after only 2 days of resistance, the Japanese army was wiped out by 9 out of 10, only about 10 billion troops were left, and they were like trapped beasts, but they were also surrounded by the lords of Xia kingdom and gradually eroded. Soon, the remaining resistance of Japan was wiped out. Zhu Zhao began to order scattered attacks on Japan's special buildings. More than an hour, everything was done. After the last special building was occupied, the world announcement sounded. All special buildings in Japan have been occupied by Xia Kingdom, and Japan has become the defeated country of Xia Kingdom. All lords of Japan have lost the qualification to continue to participate in the hegemony of all nations. This world announcement sounded, and the lords of other countries except Xia Kingdom took a breath of cold air. Whether it is the Korean country or Japan, they can be ranked among the lords of the whole people. The monster house of the East continent is not called that for nothing. It was actually occupied by Xia country in such a short time. This is a kind of deterrence, and this deterrence also makes the lords of other countries feel fear. Xia country's strength is so terrifying.